On March 11, 1984, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind was released in theaters in Japan. Directed by legendary animator Hayao Miyazaki, the movie was based on his own best-selling manga of the same name. The movie's success was proof that Miyazaki was not just a great animator, but a great storyteller as well. Then, in 1985, Topcraft, the company that helped animate the film, filed for bankruptcy. They planned on auctioning off the studio to the highest bidder. Miyazaki, along with Nausicaa film producer Isao Takahata and production committee member Toshio Suzuki, approached the Tokuma Shoten Publishing Company, which produced the Nausicaa manga and helped finance the movie. They walked into a meeting with the company founder Yasuyoshi Tokuma and persuaded him to buy the former animation studio so that they could start their own. Mr. Tokuma agreed, and as a result, Studio Ghibli was born. With their new company now in place, Miyazaki began working on his new production. He loved books and took inspiration from several classic stories. He borrowed the floating city of Laputa from Gulliver's Travels and mixed it with inspiration from one of his favorite books, Treasure Island. He even took inspiration from a previous TV show that he directed titled Future Boy Conan, giving the two main leads of the movie a similar arc to that of Conan and Lana. The final result was Laputa, Castle in the Sky. The film tells the story of a young coal miner named Pazu, who one night discovers a mysterious young girl drifting down from the clouds. The very next morning, a band of pirates and members of the government arrive looking for the girl because she holds a key that can help them to find the location of the Castle of Laputa, a mythical landmark floating somewhere above the clouds. And now, the race is on to find Laputa with the fate of the world resting on their shoulders. In some ways, this film is very different from Miyazaki's other work. It's more of a typical tale of good versus evil. Miyazaki is known for making movies that focus more on character and emotion rather than conflict. Some of his movies don't have any conflict in them at all. But when he does write it, Miyazaki often uses antagonists in his stories instead of villains. Yes, there is a difference between the two. An antagonist is a person who actively opposes or is hostile to someone or something, more like a rival or a competitor, while a villain is someone whose evil actions or motives are important to the plot, like a criminal or an outlaw. Example, Princess Kushana from Nausicaa was born and raised in a very warlike country, so violence is all she knows. However, when she sees Nausicaa's love for her people and experiences the compassion that she shows towards her enemies, it plants a seed in Kushana's mind that maybe there is another way of dealing with issues. So, while they have different viewpoints, Kushana still finds Nausicaa's way of handling things fascinating. That's an antagonist. In Castle in the Sky, though, Muska is a clear villain. He wants to control the power of Laputa for his own benefits, and he doesn't care who gets sacrificed in the process if it means obtaining what he desires. It could be that Miyazaki still had some things to prove. Despite the success of his previous film, he now had to show audiences that he was not a one-hit wonder. Plus, he was now a founder and head animator of a new studio. He may have thought that he needed to make a good first impression by making the type of movie that audiences wanted to see before diving into the movies that he wanted to make. If that strategy is true, it worked wonderfully. Like Nausicaa, this is one of those films that needs to be experienced on the big screen. It feels huge. You really feel like you're traveling through the sky with these characters, and it's quite an experience. Just the castle alone was enough to leave me awestruck, and seeing the now fossilized robots all over the place gave me a sense of wonder. There is history here, and I wanted to learn more about it. The one problem that fans seem to criticize the most is the English voice casting. When Disney first purchased the rights to Ghibli's library in 1996, they began the trend of all-star English dubs with Kiki's Delivery Service in 1998, starring Kirsten Dunst and Matthew Lawrence. Around the same time, they began recording an English dub for Castle in the Sky. Disney also cut out the name of Laputa from the title, since the word in Spanish signified a woman of easy virtue. The company did originally plan on releasing the film on home video in 1999, since Kiki's sales were a success.
A girl with a magical crystal.
The way you fell from the sky, I thought maybe you were an angel or something.
Good luck, Patsu!
Here we go!
No, Patsu, hurry!
Castle in the Sky. Coming soon, only to video.
Later on, however, they decided that maybe it was best to release the film in theaters instead. Everything was set for a theatrical release. But then, the box office failure of Princess Mononoke made Disney executives nervous. They retracted the planned release date for Castle in the Sky again, unsure how to proceed with it. For many years, the English dub of the film was left in limbo. Disney wanted to release it at what they felt was the right time. Finally, in 2002, they got it. After the smashing success of Spirited Away in America, the films of Studio Ghibli became household names. So, in 2003, Disney released Spirited Away on DVD in the US, along with the DVD release of Kiki's Delivery Service and the official debut of their English dub for Castle in the Sky. But like I said, audiences were mixed on the voice casting, and I have to agree. Mark Hamill and Cloris Leachman do a great job with their roles. But Anna Paquin's voice is a bit bland and forgettable, while James Van Der Beek's voice sounds really out of place. I don't buy the voice of a grown man coming out of the voice of a child. Granted, Disney did kind of do the same thing with Matthew Lawrence as Tombo in Kiki's Delivery Service, but I find Lawrence's performance a bit more passable because at the time of recording, the age difference between the two of them wasn't as big as Pazu's and Van Der Beek's. But that's only a problem with the English dub of this movie. The one problem I have with the movie in general is that many of the concept designs look too similar to the designs from NAUSICAA. And I'm not just talking about the facial features. This movie has airships like NAUSICAA, and some of them look very similar to bugs as well. The robots of Laputa have a very similar design to the God Warriors. Some flashback sequences are very similar in art style too, and even the fox squirrels make cameo appearances. Could NAUSICAA and Castle in the Sky take place in the same universe? I doubt it. The fox squirrels, I think, are just meant to be a fun little Easter egg. But despite the visual similarities, I do love this movie. The characters are okay for the most part. I remember Mushka and Dola the Pirate Captain more than the two main leads. But they're all still likable. So yes, it's not a traditional Miyazaki film, but that doesn't mean that it's not a great film. Some die-hard fans consider NAUSICAA to be the very first Studio Ghibli film, since it was made by a lot of the same people. But Castle in the Sky was the very first one to be released under the official studio name. And what a film it is to begin a legendary legacy. I'm going to give Castle in the Sky 4.5 stars. Well, I've gotten a few requests to talk about it, and now I'm finally ready. So next month, I'm going to be talking about and comparing both English dubs of Kiki's Delivery Service. The dub from 1998, which many have fallen in love with, and the re-edited dub from 2010. Plus, as a bonus, I recently read the newest English translation of the book. So, I'll be throwing that into the discussion as well. A lot to talk about, to prepare for, and I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am. Thanks so much for continuing to watch my video, guys. It really means a lot to me, and if you like this, you can click here and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.